Urban legends and terrifying myths of all kinds seem to surface from all around the world as reports of strange, supernatural and paranormal and extraterrestrial accounts spread throughout a town or region like wildfire. Some of these urban legends tend to never leave the region in which they first began, whereas others might make national headlines all around the world in their appearance. So today, at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be covering several different urban legends that come from the country of the Philippines and their strange tales. The Lady in the White Ghost. Described by locals as being the most popular and frequently cited ghost from across the country is that of the Lady in White. According to the legend surrounding the Lady in White, she appears to be a female ghost dressed completely in a white robe with long black hair that travels down the length of her back. Though there have been a number of sightings of the Lady in White ghost across the Philippines, there is one that stands out the most as the most commonly told story surrounding the legend of the ghost and its behaviours. According to the urban legend, the spirit of the Lady in White belonged to a long-haired woman of whom was wearing a white dress on her way to a wedding. Suddenly, as she was driving along Ballet Drive, her car began shaking and she crashed at a high speed, causing her to perish instantly. This has caused her spirit to be trapped in this area, in a perpetual state of attempting to get to her wedding in time. This has left many taxi drivers scared, as it has been told amongst the drivers not to pick up anyone alongside Ballet Drive at night, as it is usually the Lady in White of whom will enter the backseat of the taxi and take on a more disgusting form, a form that has left many taxi drivers running from the car and abandoning their taxis. Though this is only one instance and tale of the elusive Lady in White, the truth surrounding the legend appears to be all the more frightening. It appears that not only are there several cases of these strange sightings all across the country, with many different origin stories of women with tragic tales, but that many different spirits of the same form appear all across the world in many different countries, completely isolated from the myth all across time. This has led many to believe that a Lady in White ghost can appear from almost anyone and will usually only take form when a woman undergoes a tragic event while remaining pure of heart. The Devil's Mountain Occurrence. Resting on the borders of San Pablo Laguna and Dolores Quicon is a mountain referred to by the locals living in the area as the Devil's Mountain. The mountain, known as Mount Cristobal, has been surrounded with a number of disappearances from hikers every single year that claims the lives of even the most experienced hikers in the region. Despite this, it appears that the majority of bodies have not been recovered from these missing hikers, leading some to believe that instead of perishing, they are taken to another world of some kind. One such story from the locals tells of that of a married couple that went on a hike to the mountain and stayed there for a few days. After they had met others and told them they would be taking a forked path, they were never seen from again, leaving many people wondering which path they had taken and become lost, since there seemed to have been no forked paths in the area. This story would later come up once again after a group of boys went to the mountain on a hiking trip and came across a married couple that fit the look and description of the couple that had went missing a few years prior, and so followed the couple, believing that they might be ghosts or strange manifestations of the lost couple. As they followed the couple, they witnessed them going down a forked path and so followed them, of which eventually led them to losing sight of the couple and sustaining injuries falling down an area of the mountain. This has led some to believe that the lost people of whom went hiking on the mountain are still there, stuck in a possible time loop or warped reality in which they are jumping through time and encountering other people of whom have went missing on the mountain years prior. These fears have left many, including experienced hikers, worried as to how or why these strange occurrences have been appearing on the mountain, and so leave many fearful of journeying through the region. The encounters with the Headless Priest. Mostly told by the older generation in the Philippines today, is that of the Headless Priest, of whom can wander around many different areas of the country and attempt to snatch children wandering too close by. This urban legend seems to originate during the Philippine Revolution, in which the Filipino people stood up against the ruling of the Kingdom of Spain, of whom attempted to spread Catholicism by force throughout their people, along with a wide variety of other horrendous acts upon the population. This eventually metastasized to that of the Filipino people attacking and executing the priests in the region, of whom had already developed a nasty reputation of taking kids and selling them off to faraway regions or using them for personal pleasure. Shortly after the revolution and the execution of the priests in the area, many of the locals in the regions of graveyards, universities, abandoned churches, and darker sections of the forest began telling of their sightings of headless priests wandering through the area. In some renditions, the headless priests were seen carrying its own head that was snapping around looking for something to eat, whereas others say the headless priest would walk with its hands out trying to grab onto anybody it could. Today, variations of this myth are still told that say if you sustain a large injury of any kind and refuse to cover up your wound with bandages or cloth, the spirit of a headless priest will come out of your wound and begin to manifest in front of you. Though sightings have been decreasing surrounding the strange headless priest apparitions, the myth continues to live on in different variations and are told all throughout the country as warnings to children to not trust a stranger wandering around, as they might be out to snatch them. The Jeepney Rides. Jeepney rides are a popular mode of transportation for tourists visiting the Philippines, as they're similar to small tour buses with a wide variety of interesting and bright designs to attract people from all over to hop in and journey across a busy city. Despite this wonderful and fun nature, however, there appears to be a frightening urban legend at its centre that warns people from entering a jeepney ride at night when no other passengers can be seen. According to the urban legend, a young woman had entered a jeepney ride after midnight only to find that there was no one on the transportation except for the driver. The driver asked where she needed to go, and so she told him her address, hoping to get dropped off near her street. Without saying another word, the driver drove the distance at an incredibly fast speed, spending the majority of the drive looking back through his rearview mirrors and staring at the woman that joined. When the woman arrived at her destination, the man then leaned out of the jeepney and told the woman that she would soon pass away. He claimed that he could see the future and that as she sat in the backseat of the jeepney, he could see that she was headless in the mirrors and predicted her death. This left her scared as the jeepney left and was never seen in that area again. A few days after telling her family the story, the woman was found attacked in her sleep and completely headless. Many people believe that the woman's head was taken by the driver, as the time her head was taken was at the same hour as when she entered the jeepney ride only a few days prior. Others believe the driver was a guardian angel, attempting to save her from a terrible fate. Regardless of these beliefs, it has come as a consensus amongst locals to never enter a jeepney ride after midnight as the only passenger on board. The patient on the elevator. According to this urban legend, the patient on the elevator tells a terrifying story that leaves many fearful of the areas of hospitals that are normally left vacant. The story goes that a doctor was walking with a patient as they were taking the elevator to the lobby of the hospital. Suddenly, the elevator continued down further and ended up in the lower basement levels of the hospital in the morgue. They looked around wondering if anyone had called the elevator and needed help, as they could hear a strange moaning from down the corridor. The doctor left the elevator and saw a man walking towards them while moaning in pain. Before the doctor got too close, he saw a red wristband on the man's hand and ran back to the elevator, quickly pressing the doors closed. The patient on the elevator then asked him what was wrong and why they left the man behind. The doctor then explained that the man had a red wristband and that those were only given to patients that have passed away, ultimately believing that the body was that of a possessed deceased patient and not that of a normal man. Though people are unsure where exactly the story originates from, it continues to be an urban legend told across the Philippines, warning people from going into the basements or abandoned corridors of hospitals. But what do you all think of these strange and almost supernatural urban legends floating around the country of the Philippines? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.